IVM.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Geek podcast. My name is Tejas and Dinkar is here with me in the studio today.
What's up?
How's it going, man?
It's going very well.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Yes, yeah. By the time this episode releases, it will be the next year?
No, I think it'll still be 2018.
Okay,
yeah.
Great.
But maybe literally the last day of 2018.
Yeah, so this will be the last episode of 2018.
Yes.
How sad is that?
Oh no, it's a good.
It's all right.
It's an appropriate note to end the year on.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think this is the average that we needed. This is the median.
This is what brought the average down.
All right. Today we're talking about DC movies Aquaman.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I feel like we're taking the piss out of it already. Though there are a few things in it that are redeemable, I will say.
Yeah, it's a mixed movie.
A very mixed movie.
Let's say that at the outset. It's not a complete disaster.
Yeah.
But also it's quite a mess.
So I wanna start by saying that I totally did a racist thing.
What?
And I confused the directors of this film with the Star Trek Beyond director. That's Justin Lin. This is James Wan.
Yeah.
Now, they have a 3-letter Asian surname, and that's probably why I confused them. But James Wan is known for his horror films, The Conjuring universe,
and
Insidious,
the Saws, right?
The Saws.
The first two Saws or something?
Yes, the good Saws.
The good Saws.
And how we rate movies here.
Correct, yeah.
Based on Saw 1 to 9 or whatever they're on
Saw
right now.
7, I believe, and Saw 7 is the worst. So
Yes.
the lower your Saw rating is, the better your movie is.
Correct. So
We will give Aquaman a Saw rating.
Saw rating, yeah, how about that? Though we should really give it a scene.
And
that's where it should lie. But let's talk about Aquaman. But before, I feel like it's prudent to talk about the DC Universe, as we do now and then. We've spoken much about the DC Universe and how it has failed in almost every way to, exceed expectations.
Mm-hmm.
It has just about
It's
been
met expectations once.
like middling to average kind of reviews.
Yeah.
On most of the films. Can we say that
Much
Wonder
like
Woman?
that actor in the Hercules TV movie who read the stage directions as part of his dialogue.
One of my favorites.
Yeah, it's one of the best. We are disappointed.
Disappointed. Okay, actually, are you disappointed with this film, or did it really just? You knew what was going to happen, and that's what happened.
With this film,
Yes.
I am appointed because I have been disappointed by the DC universe as a whole for a while now.
Absolutely.
So this about meets my standards for what I was expecting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. I think that's okay. There are a few benefits in this film, which we'll get to. But before that, can we explicitly say that Wonder Woman is the best DC film till date?
Of the DC Extended Universe, yes, obviously. We're not counting anything before Man of Steel for the purpose of this argument.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
obviously.
correct. Sorry. Yes, of course. What
The
I mean...
DCEU films.
The DCEU.
Wonder Woman is easily...
Ew.
the DCEU,
Yeah.
it's easily far ahead of everything else.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can we say that Aquaman is second?
Really?
to that? Yeah.
Okay, what are we comparing against?
We're
BVS?
comparing with BVS and Man of
Justice
Steel. Actually,
League?
you know what? Man of Steel is better. Man of Steel
Man of
is
Steel is
is
not
Man of
bad.
Steel the best movie? Actually,
I don't know.
yeah, this is actually a tough one. I
Yeah.
don't know if Man of Steel
I
or
don't know. I'd put
Wonder
Wonder Woman ahead and Man of Steel is second.
Yeah, okay. Actually, I think you know what? Wonder Woman has a lot more charm. It's a charming film.
Yeah,
and it
that's
has
what-
the only moment in all these films. Maybe Man of Steel has one of them, but it has genuine goosies.
Which moment?
Feels the World War moment,
Correct,
where she
yes.
steps out and fights
where
off
she
the
crosses
opposition.
where she crosses no man's land.
Correct. Brilliant
Yeah,
scene.
that's a good moment.
Still a standout scene, man. Like I still remember that scene like very distinctly. It's really good.
I might have to resign from everything after this, but I feel like there's a couple of moments in BVS which are slightly feelsy.
You might have to remind me, but
The fight in the rain, solid. Feels, man, just purely for the
action feels.
visuals. Yeah, action feels. Yeah,
action feels.
Yeah, I'm not talking about like why did you say that name and stuff like that.
There is one other great moment. Can we just boil the entire DCEU universe down into few scenes that are great and not overall?
I think so. That's the problem. They've got, even with Aquaman, they hit the mark in a couple of scenes, but as a movie,
So, I'll tell you what we're going to do. At the end of this episode, we are going to talk about our top 3 scenes from the DC universe.
Done.
If they just compile those scenes into a movie, it's the greatest movie ever.
Yeah. Cool.
All right. Cool. So let's talk about Aquaman. James Wan directed this. Jason Momoa. We were really, Aquaman has been given the shittier end of the superhero stick, if
for
you
a long
will.
time now.
For a long
He's
time
always
because,
been made fun of.
Yeah, he's been mocked. Because he's very campy, especially in Super Friends and
That's where his campiness started, right? Because otherwise he was a fairly typical. I mean, he was as campy as like an old Fantastic Four comic would be, for example. They're all pretty. They're fairly cheesy.
Anything from the 60s, 70s. I mean, it's bound to be there. I mean, Batman has had his share of camp. Aquaman, for some reason, has always been given that lower kind of status.
Well, part of the reason is his is clearly a superpower that came in the second wave. Like you start out with,
Pun
Superman
intended,
can do
yes.
everything.
Yeah.
Pun intended. Batman can't do anything, but he figures it out. And then they're like...
and then somebody to control the oceans.
I mean, that's a polite way of putting it. He talks to fishies.
He talks to fish, which they have, obviously made fun of in this. It's been a little self-referential in these movies, especially Bruce Wayne saying, I hear you talk to fish, etc. But I will say 2 things that have redeemed Aquaman in the last few years. Obviously, one is Jeff Johns' run, has made Aquaman cool again.
Yeah.
They gave him a sick story. I mean, basically his origin story, but they made it like badass. They made Aquaman a badass. They gave him a beard. They cut off his arm, gave him a bloody spear. He's cool.
Isn't it the Jeff Johns run also where he becomes bulletproof and all of that? Like his powers have been updated now.
His powers have been updated.
He's now bulletproof.
He's essentially can't be hurt by like man-made weapons.
Right, and only
Atlantean stuff, right?
He's Superman of the sea.
Superman of the sea is fair, I think. And they made him really cool. The other thing that has made him a lot more friendlier is this one show called The Batman, the Brave and the Bold, which was Batman voiced by Diedrich Baker, taking back to an old comic series by the same name where they would pair 2 heroes together and send them off into an adventure. Now that show was a special show because it finally, before Lego Batman, I want to say, they took Batman and made him very comical, not campy, but very tongue-in-cheek. And one of the star characters in that show is Aquaman, because he is always super pally. He wants to be Batman's friend, and he's just excited about every adventure. And I feel like that tone has been kind of taken into the films. Like if we saw Justice League, I'm sorry for you, but but in that they have this kind of dude bro vibe that Jason Momoa kind of
Jason
portrays
Momoa is
excellently.
like, I mean, I don't think he portrays it. He is it. He's the living embodiment of dude bro.
He's a surfer guy. He's cool, man. I think Jason Momoa is a cool guy. He's been on Game of Thrones. Everybody loves him from there. He's Khal Drogo. I mean, like, he's a cool guy. And I don't know if you ever saw that short film of him on the web, which he directed. He's actually a director and a screenplay writer and everything himself.
He did Road to Paloma, right?
Yes, and he also made this short film about him and his family, and just talking about how he likes to live life. And he's a pretty cool guy, actually. He's he's a sick guy, dude. Like he's a dude. He's a dude, right? And I think that's it's actually pretty bang on casting to take Aquaman. If you want to redeem him in the eyes of the public, take a cool guy and make him embody that role. Perfect. Everything so far so good about it. Get James Wan to direct. Perfect.
Cool.
Jeff Johns to write the story. Perfect. All these things on paper as excellent as they could be. And then there's the film. Let's talk about the film.
Yeah. Well.
What? Okay. This movie joins the esteemed ranks of movies like Fantastic Four 2, The Rise of the Silver Surfer, Big Hero 6. Just...
This isn't I mean, Big Hero 6 maybe. Rise of the Silver Surfer is not
bad. You know what? I don't mind those fantastic, but here's a solid B film is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I'd give this a C plus.
Yeah.
Or a B minus if that's the same thing.
I will say this. I mean, I saw Venom. We all did.
Yeah.
I love this movie a lot more. I mean, I like this
More
movie.
than Venom?
Yeah, man. This movie
Yes, I will agree.
has a story. It has a plot. There is something happening in this film. I feel like I'm going to be in the defensive for this film, considering that Venom was lauded, made so much money. Aquaman is doing pretty well.
Was
by the
Venom
way.
lauded?
Yeah.
By whom?
A lot of people. I mean, I'm talking about box office
we
wise.
gave it an inoffensive rating.
No,
We were like, it's
I
fine.
absolutely trashed that film. I thought it was
Correct,
trash. That
yeah.
movie is trash for me.
Yeah.
Okay,
It
it's a
is.
trash film.
Yeah.
Okay, that's in the DVD section, the slashed prices section. That's that kind of
I
film.
don't know if I'd put Aquaman that far away from that. I agree. I also agree with your take on Venom. I just didn't feel as hurt by it.
I was hurt.
Yeah,
I mean,
you were
as
hurt.
someone who loves
You took it
Venom.
personally.
Yeah. But Aquaman.
But I wouldn't put Aquaman that far off. In fact, a lot of it gave me very similar vibes to Venom. This whole
Really?
this whole 2000s
oh yes, absolutely.
emo score.
Man, there's some odd shit in this.
There's some weird choices.
Okay. But this movie, you know what, still has it. I feel like it has some heart.
Yes,
Doesn't
it's
it?
not. Yeah, it's a lot more sincere than Venom. Venom seems like it's
Off the
it was
bloody
written
rails,
to a
man.
formula.
Yeah.
Aquaman looks like it's trying.
Aquaman tried, and you know, James Wan has done. Okay, I'll tell you what James Wan has done in this film, which I genuinely like. I think action is pretty cool. There's some action sequences which
That
are pretty
were
decent.
legit.
Like there's this one sequence, the first one, in fact, where Nicole Kidman and Timura Morrison are in the house, and you know these Atlanteans come to take her back because she's run away. She's like eloped almost with this guy, and there's this kick-ass action sequence which happens in the house, and this is a single take, and it's pretty cool.
It's really well done.
directed. Like a lot of that shit is cool. What did you think of the underwater sequence? Can we watch underwater stuff?
It was odd.
It's odd, man.
Yeah.
Especially in 3D when everything's dark anyway.
I mean, it's pretty challenging anyway especially because it's an ocean and all the lighting was these like bioluminescent fish and stuff
Exactly,
because they don't
yeah.
have light bulbs and stuff. So obviously,
yeah, where's the light source?
yeah. So it's all very
This
like
fight is happening during the day.
it's all neon and kind of hazy the entire time, and
Yeah.
there's water floating about.
Yeah, and they
It's
have
a
to add that
little-
thing. There's a little, like watery effect that is
On
put on
the-
everyone's vocals.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
that's the. You know what I actually really liked is like James Wan apparently said this. He's just like in Justice League when Mera and Arthur are having this conversation, they have to kind of go into this
bubble.
air pocket bubble or whatever, and he was just like, you know what, they can speak in water, screw it, it's fine, nobody has to think about that, and he just went with it, which I actually appreciate. Otherwise that would have been a mess, man. And so
Exactly.
they can just speak underwater, it's great. So a few things I liked a lot of things. I love Timura Morrison, man. That guy he's my original clone trooper, man. That guy's Rex, dude, for me, like, and Cody and everybody, man. He's a fet.
Yeah.
He cannot be messed with. I loved seeing him. I just thought it was amazing. I loved Timura Morrison. Willem Dafoe. What a treat.
The cast overall, actually, like Patrick Wilson, Willem Dafoe, Nicole Kidman.
Great cast. Nicole Kidman is here in this.
Yeah,
who's very Ant-Man and the Waspy in many ways. She's just like, isn't it just exactly the same story as Janet Van Dyne?
It really is, right?
Like the same. Anyway, whatever. But that's fine. I mean, nothing wrong with that. I like Jason Momoa. Great.
He was okay, I think.
he's fine.
Not
He's
brilliant,
fine. I
but
think he
he
could have
did
been-
exactly what he was supposed to do, I
Like
think.
few things that really kind of are stupid. Like I think, in many ways he's just like, I think you mean not fish boy, fish man. Things are cool. But then like there's one part in this where there's a bit of a dialogue where he's just like, Mera's telling him about the golden trident. This is where the golden trident is, here, if you take that, you will become the king of Atlantis. He's like, no, that's a myth. I was like, everything else you can believe
But
that
this,
happens.
You're like, no way, man.
This thing is a myth, man.
There's a bunch. I mean, there's
that's
so
stupid.
many moments like that, though.
That's so dumb.
I
I mean, like, but that's basically an example.
That's just
of,
a fit. Yeah, it's a constant back and forth between like stuff really working and then stuff just being like, huh?
yeah, they could
Question
have
marky.
literally made him a fish out of water in this, and just made him like very much like Thor. Just quipping on all the weirdness of being in the ocean and things like that. Like people, man, my favorite thing. There's an octopus who plays drums in this
I
movie.
know.
Okay, by far my favorite scene.
I wish there was a lot more stuff like that, right? There was clearly
just
like
make
a
it
fun
funny.
moment.
Yeah.
And I feel like when they did try for humor, they didn't quite land
They
it.
didn't land it, yeah, I agree.
It was when they did the humor without telegraphing it, because like a lot of the funny scenes would have like this comic music playing in the background and stuff like a
very obvious. There are three types of music in this film, right? One is the operatic score, which I think they could have ditched. The second is this very synthy kind of thing that is going on, very Blade Runner thing, which I actually enjoyed. Especially there's that one scene which I thought was great where she's taking him to Atlantis for the first time. They see that little highway, and it's like this kind of sick, like Thor Ragnarok,
that was
the synth
cool.
score, and like, it's cool. And I was just like, I wish you developed the world a lot better, like they did for Wakanda or they did for Ragnarok. You know, like I wish you developed Atlantis to be this cool place to be. Like when people saw Wakanda for the first time, right? It's this Afro future kind of thing. You want to go to Wakanda and be like, wow, this is cool, man. Like Atlantis, they didn't like focus on it enough for me to care.
They didn't quite land it, right? Like, because they just kind of, they dropped you into Atlantis and they're like, cool, we're in Atlantis.
Yeah,
that
make it
scene
cool.
setting doesn't really happen.
Another scene which it kind of reminded me of but didn't do enough, I think it's because Timur Morrison is in it, but like in Attack of the Clones, right? When they're in Coruscant, they spend a lot more time in Coruscant in that film than they do in any other. And there's a scene where Obi-Wan and Anakin are searching for the assassin who's trying to kill Padme, right? And they follow him through the city and they go into the depths. Like, it's very Blade Runner. It's awesome. I wish they made Atlantis like that. You know, there was like the scope was there for it, but we just don't get the time to fall in love with that place, man. Like, I wanted like Arthur to go back to this place and go like, wow, this place is sick, man. Like, it's like got futuristic technology.
Yeah.
There's another.
It doesn't even seem like the first time he's in Atlantis, right? That first sequence where they go through the bridge of sorts and then they go into the city. There's not enough time spent checking out the city itself.
I wish they did.
But because they have all the elements, they just didn't arrange them right, I think. Like the idea that there's these 5 distinct species of underwater
cool.
dwellers.
I thought that was all cool.
Yeah, but they kind of throw that in randomly and then you're like, wait, what is happening?
Yeah, stupid. That was poorly done.
That establishment of the world underwater is very vague, like, and really shoehorned in at times. Like, there's the scene where Patrick Wilson's character King Orm meets another like king of one of the other realms, and then
Dolph Lundgren.
Dolph Lundgren of all freaking people. Anyway, the two of them meet and they're under these like giant statues, and Dolph Lundgren, who's clearly seems like an older, very experienced king, goes like, why did you choose to meet here? And King Orm, who comparatively looks like a much younger guy, explains the history of Atlantis to him.
Yeah, I know.
Like, clearly you're talking to the audience.
Exactly, silly expositional kind of stuff. My other thing is like, he meets Mera and whatever, they have this, and then he's like, I don't even know your name. I was like, what?
Yeah, at halfway through the movie.
You met him in Justice League. You didn't
2 movies ago.
Like, really, man? Like,
it's like they expect you to be in media res, but stupid. Also not. Like, the first time Amber Heard turns up as like, she kind of just walks out of the water and starts talking to him, and he talks to her completely normally. I
know who you are kind of vibes, you know. But like, why did you come to this guy if you don't even know who this chick is? Like, who are you? This is the first thing I would ask if somebody popped out of the water and said, please come be king of my country.
And then halfway through, like, maybe was this movie like rearranged a bunch in editing, you think? Because there's another scene with like Aquaman and his dad, with Arthur Curry, with Mr. Curry,
Thomas,
where he goes like, you're finally doing it just like Vulko trained you, and we're like,
you know
who's Vulko?
Yeah, Vulko.
Vulko Geico.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I like Vulko though.
I mean, he's
I
cool,
love Willem
but
Dafoe.
at that
also,
point,
getting to see de-aged Willem Dafoe, great.
It's great.
I love seeing all these de-aged characters.
But at that point in the movie, there's no context for what they're talking about. Like, obviously you know what they're talking about if you know Aquaman, but you haven't done any work to show that in the movie.
Can I say something though? Aquaman, and like Wonder Woman, still works as a film for me because it's fresh. Like, it's just fresh material. Like, even though the tropes are there and all.
It's not quite fresh. Most of it happens in the sea.
Yes, it's fresh water, not fresh water. But you know what here's the thing. I think they can't make another Batman or Superman film. I mean, they could, and it would be amazing if somebody nailed it or something. But I think we're just done with those stories, and why Aquaman, I could still sit through it and just be like, it's all new emotions for me. Like, oh, cool, let's see. We have an underwater thing to talk about. Like, you know, like, as opposed to seeing the same old thing. And that's my problem with Justice League, is that they still try to give Batman Batman, Superman arcs and all that stuff. I mean, you don't need to, man. Like Wonder Woman, even though it's going through, it's still by definition fresh because we have not seen that before, and that's why it works. Even Captain Marvel won't seem as, maybe it still will feel as fresh, but because we've seen Wonder Woman, like it's a first, and I'm glad they decided to take these calls and say, let's do Wonder Woman. It felt right that Wonder Woman was the first female-led superhero film, or it feels right that they do Aquaman and not Submariner, because I like Aquaman, like it's the king of the bloody ocean, man. Anyway, let's take a short break. We'll come back and talk about the merits of this film.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another awesome week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you're not following us on social media, please make sure that you do. We're IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We had a Christmas party in the office last week, and you can see pictures of that on our Instagram this week, so please do make sure that you do check it out. On Cyrus Says, Cyrus, Abbas, and I do a 2018 Rewind edition of Cock and Bull. The year's biggest political stories, controversies, sporting triumphs, to viral memes, we try and pack it all in an hour. I don't think we made it. On Advertising is Dead, Varun and Karthik Nagarajan, Chief Content Officer at Wavemaker, recap the year in advertising and give their predictions for 2019. On Simplified, tune into part 2 of their year-end special with special guest Tony Sebastian. On Thalle Harate, our Kannada podcast host Pawan Srinath talks about how the internet can be a scary place, as nefarious plots are hashed against companies, governments, and people online all the time. On the year-end special of Woody Woodpecker, Rachel takes a look back at the most popular words of 2018. This week on Pulya Bazi, Pranay discusses the impact that space research has on an aspirational society and why the argument poor nations shouldn't spend on luxuries like space exploration makes little logical sense. And guys, it's been a great 2018 and we hope you enjoyed your journey with IVM. We're looking forward to bigger and better things in 2019. Please do tell a friend about the podcast that you've enjoyed. Try and spread the word. That's very important for us. And with that, let's continue on with your show.
Hey, we're back. We're talking about Aquaman.
And its merits.
And its merits. What
and
did
its
you like?
Merits. We're playing some goods, some bads.
Yeah. One nice, one bad.
One nice, one bad.
Yeah. Give me a nice.
I'll tell you what I thought was the standout sequence of this film.
Okay, what do you think?
Actually, I'd like to set the scene for the movie. I really liked the idea of its structure, the idea of its structure.
Yes, me too.
It was basically a quest kind of thing, right?
I love that. I love that so much.
The way they set it up was very clumsy.
Super clumsy, as per DC standard. Yeah. But, I still like that the movie wasn't really about any kind of... it's a simple quest structure, very,
which is great.
Adventure kind of stuff.
Like go to this point, figure out a clue, go to next point. So that's an amazing structure for a movie.
Solid. And, different for a superhero film.
Yeah.
Very different.
Very new. They set it up in a really bad way, where they were just like, you have to win the hearts of the people, so go find the trident.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Which is even more stupid because when he does eventually find the trident, no one notices.
Yeah, I know. Everyone should just immediately stop.
Yeah. Instead, people look at it
there's a wall.
Oh, you found the trident. What? Continue.
Technically, he should show up and it should shut that shit down.
Like, he's got the trident.
And then everyone fights still.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why that happens.
It's
but whatever, they need one big battle at the end.
We'll get to climax, which is a whole...
It was too big a battle for the end. It's like it was the whole of Atlantis fighting. Like, in the first movie itself.
Yeah.
And I get it, but it should have been a more personal thing. In fact, I feel like Ocean Master, roughly shares the same role that Loki does, kind of.
Yeah.
Which I don't think...
Almost literally, right?
Yeah, because he's a half-brother.
Half-brother.
Except he is the half-breed or whatever Aquaman is, which is kind of cooler than Thor's story. Like, I like that, a lot of... A reluctant hero is the best kind. Aragorn is like one of my favorites. But like this guy, it feels like he should be... I don't think he deserves to be king, by the way. Okay?
Who, Aquaman?
Yeah.
Why?
Because he has no friggin' experience.
Yeah, he just popped up and he was like,
I'll be king only because ethical values. It's like our own government, right?
Let's
Who
see
should be?
what
Rahul
kind of
Gandhi
king
or Modi?
He'll be, though. You don't know. Because, he's only the king because that's the only way to stop the plan. Otherwise, he wouldn't be the king. So that's fine, I think.
So what is he going to do? Like, become king and then be like, delegate?
Yeah. He's got Mera, who's clearly got
that's true, yeah.
smart head
and
on
Valko.
And Valko.
Yeah, Valko's great.
I'll tell you let's get into our goods and bads, right?
Yeah, goods.
The goods is when this movie doesn't take itself seriously, it does really well. Like,
absolutely.
When it goes all out, and acknowledges that it's a ridiculous comic book movie that's taking place underwater. It's so much fun. There's a scene
seahorses.
where
I know, it's just great.
The seahorses are like whinnying and stuff, and then neighing. Or the fact that Dolph Lundgren's side of things, they ride sharks.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And the sharks roar.
And the sharks are like...
The sharks are going like... They're not lions. But that's great. Go for it.
Solid. Yeah, like James Wan has given zero F's about
the science of what happens underwater,
exactly.
Which is fine. Or there's that giant Colosseum kind of scene where Mera is wearing this necklace made out of bioluminescent fish. Or the octopus playing drums. All that stuff is great.
So apparently that's from the comics also, but like
the octopus playing drums.
Yeah, it's his pet.
So when it leans into the idea of being like a comic book movie, it does so well.
Yeah. And there is something different about the DC's, like the flavor of these kinds of films. At least the problem in 2018. When everybody's so woke and everybody wants their heroes to be relatable, DC still got these very archetype figures as their heroes, whether it's Batman, Superman stuff. But I'm saying it's not a bad differentiating point. Like, they should make their movies... Like, I wish they made their movies a little more, not comic-y. Like, I mean, not comic-y, but like, if they treated their films like Lord of the Rings or something like that, more fantasy and things like that, they would have a completely different appeal. But now we're here, this is where we are. They want to go in this whole tongue-in-cheek way. Aquaman is probably a really good character to do it, but they didn't lean into it. Like, they want to split the difference somewhere all the time.
Yeah, they ended up halfway, which I think is a problem. You didn't go completely serious and dark, which would have been a disaster. And you didn't go completely the other way, which is weird.
If they went serious and dark, but the thing is that they alienate a lot of people. Like what Fox is trying to do with Logan and things like that. Absolutely on point, man. Like, you can't show that movie to kids, okay? Because it's so dark and it's so, like, ultra serious. But it's a brilliant film, man. Like, there's no denying that there's some merit in just taking a stand in what you're trying to say and do it that way.
So that's the difference between like a serious film and a grimdark film, right? Like, the DC is it's grimdark to the point of not necessarily story, but everything, treatment.
It's just treatment.
The fact that people are being killed for, I'm not sure what reasons. Like, people are being shot down from the start, dude. Nicole Kidman stabbing these stormtrooper guys.
Right in the face. Man, there's one scene where King Nereus, who's Mera's dad, which is weird, I think, because that's not like there in the comics, I think. But so he turns out to be fine in the end, like, but he just kills random people from the fisherman tribe.
Just for the F of it.
Yeah, just like shooting this, like, kill these guys.
So much deaths.
Also, let's talk about my least favorite part of the film, Black Manta.
Yeah.
That guy, first of all, terrible actor.
Yeah.
Very bad acting.
I'm not sure. That guy is familiar. I feel like I've seen him in something.
I don't know.
I can't remember what. I don't know if he was a bad actor, but every single thing he said just seemed like it was being read off a teleprompter. It was such a shoehorned in script. Like the fact that we first see him in the middle of a pirate operation. We're halfway through, just before they're about to storm like an important room. His dad turns around and goes like,
"This is your grandfather."
I know.
Exactly.
What is going on? He suddenly gives him a family heirloom and gives this whole speech. And like, first of all, dead.
He's gonna die.
This guy's dead.
I was telling Abhimanyu, I was watching this movie with my flatmate. I was just telling, I was like, the moment he was like, this guy's gonna die.
Obviously.
like 5 minutes, he's gonna die.
And why would you do that in the middle of raiding a submarine?
Like, why this mission? Particularly.
I know. It looks like it's a regular mission.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was pretty bad.
Hard.
And every single thing he does seems like that, right? So he blames Aquaman for the death of his dad.
Which is so stupid because, like, he obviously didn't kill him. He didn't have to save him, but he didn't kill him, man. The guy bloody tried to kill everybody on the ship when he thought he was going to die.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
It's a hazard of the job.
Correct. Everyone tells him this, okay? Like, there are two stupid things that happen in this movie, okay? I mean, apart from others. But, like, everyone is telling Aquaman, like, Aquaman keeps saying that my mother died because of me. Which is like, dude, that really was out of your hands. Your very conceivement, your conception was not your fault. None of us chose to be born, man.
But
it just happened.
Some of that has to be explained.
Yeah, and
apparently.
and he's just like, no, my mother died because of me. I was like, dude, your parents just did it, and that's how you happened, son. Like, literally not your fault.
plant a flag here. Going forward, spoilers, shall we say? We're about halfway through the episode, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, we've already kind of...
I guess so.
Alright, what are the other spoilers? Spoilers ahead.
Yeah, from now on, it's a free-for-all. But give me one of your goods, man.
Goods. I enjoyed a few. Like I said, I enjoy the whole questiness of the whole thing. I like that whole Sahara. I like that Italian, the Sicily kind of scene. It's kind of little.
I like the
it was
action
hit or miss.
The action in Italy was solid. I thought the rooftop chase was great.
As a set piece, it was cool.
The sequence before that, where they're kind of just like falling in love while walking the streets,
that's all like
it felt like a Hindi movie.
It full on.
I know, right? I expected like a Pehli Nazar Mein to start in the background.
Exactly. But I mean, like, God, it was very shoehorned.
So cheesy.
Right. Very cheesy.
Oh wait, we were talking about Black Manta, right? To get back to him, here's another thing that didn't make sense to me. He blames. It turns out that he's been conspiring with King Om to.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing. Why is he using this guy? Like,
he
why?
found him, I suppose. He's a pirate, and King Om was like...
But he doesn't want it to lead back to any Atlanteans because he wants to kind of... I don't know.
Okay, I don't think they explain this well enough in the movie, but I believe that the act that gets King Nereus to pledge his allegiance was staged.
Right? Of course. And that was by this dude.
Yeah.
But this guy's clearly bad at his job.
He's so bad at his job.
He's very bad.
And when he gets paid, he's like, screw this, I just want to get Aquaman.
Yeah, and he can't even do that.
Yeah.
He gets his ass kicked.
He is... so there's a sequence where King Om gives him this like... pinnacle of Atlantean technology battle suit,
and he rips it apart and puts it in his eyes.
I know,
which is cool. Actually, I really like that. I like that a little bit. It was very Iron Man-y, but because it kind of, and it was a nice origin story for his suit, because his suit is so iconic in the comic books because it's got that really funny head. You know, like it's a great.
It's a giant head.
It's a giant head. I loved it. I thought
in context of this movie where it looks
very
so
Power Rangers-y. It looks so Power Rangers-y that
him and the Atlantean soldiers both look very Power Rangers.
Man, yeah, those Atlantean soldiers are just not happening.
I mean, I think they were going for a stormtrooperish vibe.
Yeah, exactly. But when they break their helmets, they can't breathe and they die?
Yeah, apparently.
What? So nobody from the underwater can breathe?
They clarified it's a very like...
How is Mera breathing
It's a casteist situation.
They
go into the... right at the start of the movie, when they go into the air pocket that Mera and Valko have created, she tells Arthur Curry that only highborns can breathe air as well as water.
That sucks.
That's so racist.
That's so super racist.
There's a literal caste system down there.
They made it.
They have 5 castes.
Okay.
Among which there are highborns and lowborns.
I have to tell you something which is absolutely dumb as in this movie, okay? Which I thought was hilarious. They're telling the backstory of Atlantis, right? I don't know who's giving the backstory. I think it was Valko or somebody. Or somebody. Oh, no. It's the hologram or whatever giving the story. And they're telling the story of Atlantis. Atlantis used to be on the surface. Everyone created this trident and they overused it. So the whole of Atlantis sunk and boom, like in seconds.
Wait,
okay?
they invented a way to get infinite power.
Yeah, right? Which also,
and power meaning literally like electricity.
Energy,
not like divine
sustainable
power.
Energy.
Correct.
They created. It destroys the whole thing. The whole landmass sinks to the bottom of the ocean. And then he says this line. He's like, but also the very thing that destroyed us also propelled our city forward. I was like, dude, how does that make sense? How did it not work above land and in water work? Like, what is
that? So above land, the entire scene is basically, it looks like a giant short circuit happens, right? Because suddenly all the lights go out in Atlantis
and the whole landmass just breaks apart. I was like, what do you think? This is like a flat earth system where it's just floating on water. It was not. It was like this foundational shit. Like, that's how continents exist.
Sense.
Oh my God.
It goes to the bottom of the ocean.
I was like, what is this, an Oreo,
But they have infinite power that is working on the ocean floor, right? That suddenly apparently allows them to breathe underwater. Why can't you just use it to swim back to the surface?
No, and he says, we sank and then our species evolved. How?
So depending on where you landed, like if you landed on one in the briny area, you became lobstery types.
Yeah, but what the happened to them that they suddenly developed gills? Like, explain this to me. Somebody explain it.
It must have been millennia ago,
Why did
right?
they even bother to do this explanation? Like, it was
Because
so
they had to come up with some... I mean,
No,
they should have
they
just
didn't.
said these are different species.
That's all they had to do. Just say Atlantis has always been a bloody underwater guy.
Yeah. Instead, they had to explain it in this weird way.
My
Why
God.
couldn't you just...
God, that was dumb.
Are you telling me that the entire city falls down and everyone looks at each other and goes like, I guess we
we're
live
not-
here now?
Nobody decided to relocate to like the Maldives or something.
You can't just swim back up because clearly you can swim.
Like, in normal sense, if you drown, you die. You don't evolve suddenly over the course. Like, suddenly they were all just living underwater and then they evolved to have gills so they can live. What?
They evolve into
What is this
some very
science?
weird species also, right? Like some go feral apparently.
Yeah,
And
they became the trench creatures.
Yeah. So maybe because they fell into the darker areas of the ocean where there's no sunlight.
This is some racist ass
It's
shit.
pretty racist. This entire movie's got a pretty solid colonial and casteist hangover.
Yeah,
like
what-
the entire idea that this one true king has to lead the people of Atlantis
Dude,
is
have
also
you
like...
heard of democracy?
I know.
Jesus Christ.
Like everything's about like
And
he's
how
the
does
one
he
true
rule?
king.
He gets a Chinese trident. That's how he'll rule. This is how society gets damned.
Even his fights and stuff, people are just like, oh, you are the one true king. Your blood is pure, or like you have the royal blood in you. You're like, chill the f out, man. Just
Man.
make.
And then people are angry because Ray doesn't have parents and all. Like,
What is happening here?
is this movie? This is so unwoke, it's crazy.
We've gone into multiple bads. I'll tell you one good. My
Okay,
favorite
cool.
sequence from this film is when after the Sicily sequence, when they have to go towards the trench creatures, when they attack the ship, I thought that was really well done. These so the trench essentially
that
has
was
these like
awesome.
these
That was so awesome.
Yeah, it has these non-verbal feral like horror
They look
monsterish
like very
creatures.
like underwater xenomorph.
Yeah, exactly.
Band
They look
name.
very
Yeah.
underwater xenomorphs. We are the underwater xenomorphs.
This song is called. I know, sorry, yeah, but yeah.
Anyway, that was a fantastic
it looked
sequence.
really,
Right
really
from,
pretty.
I think that's where James Wan, being a horror guy, he
Solid.
really shines.
Man, in fact, like,
it
that
is
would've been really
genuinely
cool.
scary.
Yeah.
So it starts with just like a couple of them attacking the boat that Arthur and Mera are on,
Yeah.
and then like they keep piling on, and it generally starts to feel really claustrophobic. And then there's this
Awesome.
like super wide shot of them diving into the ocean with a flare to try and drive them off.
Yeah.
When it's one of the creepiest things
Yeah.
you'll see like
Amazing.
in a superhero movie. It's just like a sea, quite literally a sea
sea
of
of,
these creatures
yeah.
following them everywhere. Terrifying.
That was sick. And then it leads to a pretty random sequence, which is where we get reintroduced to Nicole Kidman's character. Something really bizarre. It felt like, this movie, we've seen so many superhero movies, but yet they had to check off many boxes of like poster shots, trailer shots, etc. Like where he's just like, you're the only one who can do it. And then he goes next to the waterfall and then turns around and gives this look.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, just go.
Yeah.
Just go finish it. And then he comes back with the orange suit, which I thought was fine. But it's just like,
I thought, so that sequence where he actually gets the trident could have been cool.
and you know what? I actually like that it wasn't just, I'm kind of getting more and more opposed to these big CGI battles. And the fact that he wins it because he can speak to the animal
was quite nice, I
Was
thought.
better. Yeah, he's like, no one has, and I love that this giant ass random creature has a very refined British accent.
Yeah.
It's like, no one has conversed with me in ages.
Yeah.
Who are you, darling? Darling. Beautiful. Now, anyway, but like, so he just has a conversation. He's just like, yeah, sorry. And
And then he eventually just goes and like picks the thing up, right?
Yeah.
I thought that was quite
Very
nice.
Excalibur-y.
Yeah, they just set it up as like a weirdly big quest.
And his name is Arthur also.
Yeah. I love how the trident is just kind of there in the skeleton's hands, and as soon as he takes it,
and the
it
guy's
melts
just
away.
I was like 0 F's given for
Yeah.
King Atlan. Oh my God.
And I quite like the Karathin or the underwater kraken.
Yeah.
I mean, even the kraken is underwater.
Yeah.
Basically,
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, but
the DC kraken is pretty solid.
cool guy.
Yeah.
Just like love.
But again, this is a
very
creature of
very
like,
Moana, Tamatoa, like
he's very Tamato, like even in the accent.
in
and
the
stuff.
accent. Yeah.
And he's also guarding a shiny thing, if you think about it. From that point on, though, when he goes back and enters that giant CGI battle,
Yeah.
That's where it kind of starts to fall apart because this is the Karathan, okay? It's been built up from the start of the movie as this like legendary creature of the depths that no one has ever seen.
And he literally just goes to sup and it's done. The transaction is over.
And when he comes into this giant battle, he comes out with the suit, and then there's a giant climactic battle going on between all the kingdoms, and the freaking Aquaman in the regal suit carrying freaking King Atlan's trident or whatever is riding the Karathan into battle, and everyone looks at him and goes like, cool.
All right.
We should all
stop now. That's where it should have stopped.
Yeah, he should have just like ridden in the Karathan, and literally everyone should have just shit their pants and gone like, whoa, hold on.
Exactly, yeah.
What is going on? I didn't believe in any of this stuff, and it's here.
Yeah.
It's like a god on earth has suddenly like arisen, and you're like, okay, cool. Let me finish this argument real quick, and then we'll get back to this.
Oh god. And then they have the fight above water, which I thought was smart because no badass fight is going to happen underwater in that sense. Unless they make it cool. I don't know how they're going to, but they should. The last fight is cool. It's fine. He kicks his ass.
Yeah.
And you know, my favorite scene is like early in the film, Valko's like, he does that little twisty move and he's like, you learn it when you have learned how to control the powers of the water and all that shit. And then at the end, he does the move and you can just see him, like, he's so happy. Valko's just like, wow.
he learned it.
He did my move. So proud. What a like proud moment.
I taught him that.
Yeah, exactly. That uncle move,
Yeah.
And he's just like so happy. Willem Dafoe's face so good.
But then why is King Orm so confused by it? Like everyone just looks at him like
I'm sure someone has done that before.
Yeah, you would think it's a pretty standard move, right? If freaking even Valko can do it, why wouldn't King Orm be able to do it?
My number was on Valko to bite the dust very early in the film, but he made it.
Yeah, I guess because you managed to convince Willem Dafoe to do a superhero movie.
You
want him to stick around.
He's Garby.
He's the vizier.
He's the vizier, yeah. As usual. My vizier is... Love it. Man, I love it. They should just lean into that shit, man. It's so funny.
There's a line where King Orm imprisons the vizier and he goes like, take him away and make sure he has a view.
Yeah.
Right? And then they call back to it when Valko says, take him away and make sure he has a view to the king. But the callback is like 5 minutes apart.
Yeah, I know. Like, and also,
you can't call. It's not like it's from the start of the movie and you're like, things have come full circle. You're just like, he just said, now you said.
Now
cool.
you said, that's it. Man, and it's also like, what view? Like, what are you watching this time? It's over. It's fine. I mean, I didn't mind it. It wasn't like, I wanted Willem Dafoe to have his. So
he did fine. Everything in this movie was like,
is fine.
It's just, I don't know. It's all okay.
I still like it though. Not like it in the sense that I didn't like the outro is also Nicole Kidman comes back to Timur Morrison's Thomas Curry at the end, and then I was like, dude, she totally had sex with another dude and had another kid. It's like weird.
Happens. Had a second marriage, came back to first marriage.
Yeah, fair enough. I was just like, okay, not as
it's
nice.
A little awkward. Like 2 days later when he's like, so what else happened underwater? And she's like, okay.
Like for him, it's tough to top Nicole Kidman, Queen of Atlantis.
Yeah.
But for her,
she found King Orvax.
Yeah. God. Who is Orvax? Did we ever see him?
No, you don't ever see him. Maybe he'll pop up in the next movie.
But where was he? This is the moment.
He died ages ago.
Oh, he's dead.
I assume so. He threw her into the trenches.
And then he felt bad.
That's why King Orm is the king.
He's not the king.
He is.
So then what the hell does he want? He's already got what he wants.
He's king.
He wants to be Ocean Master.
Correct. So when you rule all 5 realms, you become Ocean Master.
And then you can... I kind of like that. They kind of named him, like the name was... I mean, if you just call, he is Ocean Master. Okay. It's literally you found...
Ocean Master becomes a title.
That's a designation, man. It's not a title. Anyway, but... He's Ocean Master. He's the OM of the of Atlantis.
Hello, King Orm. OM, nice to meet you. Then he hands him over his card like this, in that like two-handed way. But here's the problem.
Yeah.
Like again, when he introduces himself, when they're having that conversation, King Nereus and King Orm, and King Nereus goes like, "I know why you're doing this. You want to be Ocean Master." Dun, dun, dun. I'm like, yeah, cool. I get it.
You can't say that name lightly. It's so epic. He's like, you can't say, hey, Ocean Master. Like, it has to be like Ocean Master. Yeah, that's cool.
Weirdly, like when the movie tries to get self-serious, it doesn't work.
I don't know. There is a balance. I feel like somebody has to get it. Like
they didn't quite nail the balance, basically. Like you can see it work in some sequences as a grim movie, and you can see it work in some sequences as a goofy movie.
Yeah.
And they end up in the middle, which is a little awkward.
I like a little goofier. I mean, like, okay, the outro of this film, so I was coming back to that, where Aquaman, who is given the intro, I hate voiceover in the first 2 minutes and the last 2 minutes of any movie.
Because clearly you couldn't
stupid.
figure out how to start an Indian movie.
Exactly. I don't need a Jules Verne quote, man.
Yeah. Why did you need the voiceover at all? You could just have started with
just a scene,
Yeah. Like there was no need to explain
It's like they
anything.
needed a montage to kind of get through it, and they needed to, side it with somebody. The ending, I am the keeper of the ocean. I am Aquaman.
And there's a freeze
and
frame.
And
honest to God, freeze frame is...
No.
Again,
and who are you posing for?
I feel like the freeze frame would have been fine if they had led up to it with a pretty goofy, self-aware movie.
Or made this movie in 2001.
It feels... Man... Can we talk about the soundtrack? Which feels like it was lifted straight from 2001. There's a sequence where they're climbing out of the water onto the Saharan plains, and that freaking Pitbull Africa starts playing.
I was like, this was so bad. This was so poorly.
There's another part during that the Sicily sequence. This random romantic comedy sort of music with a
jazz
lady singing. I'm like, what is happening? First of all, obviously Atif Aslam should be singing something here. How do you not have that? And then it suddenly becomes another 2000s emo rock song. What is happening? What's up with the soundtrack choices?
Man, they
here?
should have gone with that synth, that synth kind of thing.
There was a lot of sequences in this movie.
They need to have a vision with the music, I think. I didn't hear a theme, by the way.
That's what, it was cobbled together.
I didn't hear Arthur's theme. Sorry for all the Pune people out there.
Great place.
God.
Wait, so I feel... See, now I just want to go to Arthur's theme.
Oh, God. Okay, so, wait, let's take a short break, a last break, and we come back. We're going to conclude this film. We're going to talk about our top 3 scenes from the DC films, and we'll talk about the future of DC as well.
Hello, everybody. We have a brand new daily podcast we're working on with Bloomberg Quint. All you need to know provides the top news on business, markets, and the economy so that you can stay ahead of the curve. Tune in every morning on BloombergQuint.com, the IVM podcast app, or wherever you get your podcasts from.
Right, we're back. We're talking about Aquaman and DC movies, DCEU. Okay, in conclusion, Aquaman, go.
I feel like this movie
solid Saw 4. Sorry, go ahead.
I would give it a Saw 4 is really bad, by the way.
Oh, is it?
I believe so, because I think I saw Saw 3.
Oh, you're talking about the actual movie?
The actual movie.
Oh, okay,
so
cool.
it reflects on our scale, because Saw 1, good.
Yeah.
Saw 2,
okay.
Saw 3 onwards,
I've not even seen it.
I believe Saw 3 is one of the few movies in my life I have walked out of.
You've walked out of a film? Nice.
Saw 3. After the first graphic torture and death sequence, I was like, cool, I'm out.
Okay.
Enjoy yourselves.
All right.
It's pretty gory. Did you get very Ragnarok-y vibes from this movie? Like it was wanted to be Ragnarok-y parts?
You know what? It would have done well.
There's a lot that's almost directly analogous to Ragnarok, right?
So,
there's the neon color palette in parts. There's the Colosseum scene.
The synth kind of vibe.
I
think, I think even if because the characters are fairly similar, right? It's mostly that fantasy, that kingdom, monarchy kind of story. And if they just went with a little more, I don't know how they're going to imbue more character to the ocean. Like, I feel, here's what they should have done. And this is what I was constantly thinking in this film and most DC films. I'm just constantly thinking, how can I fix this film? Like, how could they have fixed this film? And the simple answer is that one is that it should have been a little more self-effacing. Like, just reference your own history of being a funny, something that people have been making fun of. And it's cool. I know they want to make him badass, and they do it, man. It's fine. Jason Momoa, boom, full stop, right?
Yeah.
That's one. Second thing, I feel like music, they should have stuck to that theme. 3, I feel like we should have, half the thing about Black Panther, which I love, is that first of all, Black Panther also has a democracy, man. Like, if you challenge the guy, you win, boom, you're done, you're out. Even there's some. Here, I feel like we didn't get the chance to see Atlantis. I want to see more of Atlantis. We should make it more like Coruscant or make it more like Wakanda, something like that. There has to be something about this city that is worth wanting to be part of, man. Like, this guy's supposed to be like the hero of 2 worlds and all that jazz.
Yeah.
Like, let us know why we should give a damn about Atlantis.
That was
because as far as we know, Atlantis is full of dicks.
Yeah. Atlantis is full of dicks, and their reason for attacking the surface
Yeah.
is also pretty shoddy. Like they pay lip service to it, like, oh,
Yeah.
you land dwellers have been polluting the oceans for years and stuff, but you just mention it. So what, we're just supposed to assume, like, cool, like, we dump stuff in the ocean, so they should attack us?
Like, and that's actually a strong point. They could have made the entire
They could
film
have
about.
leaned into
But we
it a
didn't
bit
see
more, right?
any Earth side of it. It was mostly said, it's fine, it's okay. I just feel like, don't say it for no rhyme or reason. Like, this guy's entire agenda to wage war on the Earth is damn unfounded, man. Like, because is it really affecting you?
Exactly, and that's why it makes Arthur Curry's motivation also weaker, right? Like, everyone says, you are destined to unite the two worlds. Apparently, just because, like, he's a half and half.
But you should be like, it's cool, man. It's fine.
Yeah, like,
Let's
either stay
not be-
apart or... When was uniting the two worlds ever an issue?
Yeah,
'Cause from what
exactly.
we can see, the surface dwellers are just like, their only issue is that they don't think Atlanteans exist.
Yeah, so tell
And
me.
Atlantis' issue is that they think these guys are dicks, but they're dumping stuff in the ocean because they think no one lives there. So
Correct.
literally, if King Orm just floats to the surface and he's
The
like,
UN, go to the
hey,
UN.
sup,
Yeah, exactly.
So I live underwater.
And we need the space clean. It's like roommates. That's it. I don't know. I found that
There's
to be
never
very...
this distinction of two worlds that need to be united that comes out very strongly, which is a problem.
Like, or make it. I mean, it's supposed to be. It's the exact same thing as Nemo, right? As the Submariner. He just hates. And Nemo is a great character because he's an asshole.
Yeah.
But you can always side with him. Like, he's a really good character. Here, like, Orm's thing was not as clearly defined. But I mean, it's like we know it, but like, it was not well put out in the film.
Making it Ragnarok is one way to fix it.
Yeah.
I propose an alternate way to fix it, because why not? What if this entire movie had been like lean into the idea that Atlantis is a messed up place? They kill moms just for meeting a dude on the land. They are super racist, colonialist, sexist, whatever.
Yes.
And everything there is terrifying, because the bottom of the ocean is a terrifying place.
It's quite scary.
They mention at one point in the movie, I think on the news, on a TV or something, that we know less about the ocean floor than we know about the surface of Mars.
Yeah, which is a great
absolutely
line.
true.
Yeah.
So the idea that the hidden depths are fucking terrifying, which they are, if you look at actual creatures at the bottom of the ocean, they are the scariest
That's
things
how they
we'll
get
see.
inspiration for aliens, man.
Exactly.
Like in movies and stuff.
So what if we just lean into that, and the entire thing was kind of in the vibe of that, like, trench zone.
Aquaman comes in to kind of like chill everyone the F out, like, and just make amends. Like, if you want him to be a king, he needs to be a woke guy, and this guy seems like he's cool, like, but I mean, like, but then why? I mean, like, it's just weird. I don't know. I feel like they could. I like the idea that this, here's more superhero films need to be less about big CGI battles and and more about, like, there can be more types of superhero films. I think it's still not as explored as genre as people consider it to be. Like, Infinity War is fine. Ant-Man, I keep thinking, I thought a lot about Ant-Man during this film. Man, like, both my flatmate and I were talking about how, for me, Ant-Man is such a cool, unique film. I know they called it a heist film, but the thing that I love about it is that it's not really an origin film like how Doctor Strange might be or anything like that. It's like about two Ant-Men. Like, Michael Douglas for me is the Ant-Man. Like, and then there's Scott Lang as well, like, Paul Rudd's character. But they're two characters, both about father-daughter kind of situations, and it's a lovely story, man. Like, I really like Ant-Man because it tries to do something really different with that. And then, obviously we get a fight at the end and all that. But, like, the subatomic space, the quantum realm, all that shit, so cool. Like, they make unique things out of it. Like, the quantum realm is still far more has far more personality for me than all of Atlantis, and we saw way more of it in this film than we did in that. And, like, for me, that just goes to show that they've not really tried to explore a different side. Like, they could have just, like, we don't know anything about the underwater, make it about that.
Yeah.
Just made it a fight.
It's all pretty much a fight. Okay, whatever.
All
Leave
right.
it.
Next.
That's the problem with this thing. It just feels like a, chalo, fine, whatever, move on kind of movie.
Still better than Venom. All right.
Let's talk DCEU as a whole.
Yeah. This movie has made a lot of money. That's what I want to open with.
Yes, it does.
It's made a ton of money. And here's the thing. It's made more money in the least number of films, like, for a combined universe than any other thing. Like, more than Marvel or anything. It's already made $4 billion.
Really?
Yeah. In these films. Like,
okay, so we will see a 2 Aqua, 2 Man.
2 Aqua, 2 Man, 2... Yeah, of course.
That's again a Justin Lin thing.
That's a Justin Lin thing, yeah. But
just want to point out that wasn't because we're being racist. It's a generic sequel joke.
Also, we just made that joke just now, so yeah it's fine.
Okay.
So yeah, we will see in Aquaman 2 for sure. And it's cool.
So you think they're gonna keep plugging away at this DCEU at this point? Like, what's going on, man? Ben Affleck's out. Henry Cavill is maybe out.
He's out. Okay, let's do one thing.
Yeah.
let's do all the other films. Let's do the Flash film. Let's do who's the other guy? Let's do Green Lantern.
That's another problem. You know how they've taken Flash in a goofy direction? I feel like you could have taken Aquaman in a goofy direction
and made Flash a little more
serious,
honest,
right?
Yeah.
Or make Aquaman like a fucking terrifying dude and make Flash a little more goofy.
So yeah, now
because it's only goofy because it's Ezra Miller doing a
he
very
wants to
comedic thing. Yeah.
He wants to Peter Parker it and be the young guy there. But like I think there's a lot of the Flash story. I wish we got an adult Flash. I wish we got a much older Barry Allen, because Barry Allen, it reminds me a lot of Peter Parker in that way. It's like in some ways that his older phase, his 20s, like his 20s to his 30s kind of phase is like the coolest part of his life, right? Like something we were talking about in Spider-Verse also, like Peter Parker's like peaks around that age, and then we didn't really know what happened to him because people keep resetting his character at the beginning. But we haven't really seen that in Flash, and we haven't gotten to see Flashpoint or the whole Zoom story. It's a very serious, dark
which I suppose
story.
should happen at some point, because it was like the table was set for it in BVS.
Yeah.
But
why that was the singularly coolest part of that film, man. Anyway, so we were talking about so they should do all these films. They should make a Justice League and have recast Batman, Superman, but don't give them the main part of the story. Just let them be cool, and that's all they need
and
to
hang
serve.
around.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Make Tower do something, man. Do something cool. But like we don't know Aquaman story, we don't know Wonder Woman story, we don't know
burn
Flash.
it to the ground and do these like solo standalone things like Birds of Prey and
Birds of Prey is not solo standalone, it's part of this.
Yeah, but it's not going to be like directly connected.
If it's got a DCEU stamp on it, it is.
Okay, fine.
It's got Harley Quinn in it, which is
the
fine.
Todd Phillips Joker, which looks like a whole other scene.
That's the actual only one which seems to be in a different universe.
Maybe do more like that, right? Like, what's the worst that could happen? It'll do well.
You know what? I don't think it's a stretch of the imagination to make a combined universe. I just think they've not done it well, that's all.
I think the problem was they started out by going like, this is how we'll set it apart from the MCU, and they only created it in contrast to the MCU.
Yeah, it was not made of its own. It was not born out of love, like Aquaman.
It's a complicated. I still think the premise is good, right? But it's a complicated thing to execute. Like the idea of starting it with a weary Batman, with a Superman who is like much older and doesn't give a shit. Is kind of cool. Like it feels like a lived-in, exhausted world.
I have an idea.
Yeah.
I figured it out. I just figured it out. Here's how to reset Batman. Wonder Woman's sequel is Wonder Woman 84.
Yes.
Okay, so it's set in 1984. The next one after that should be set when Batman is a young guy.
Nice. Exactly. Go fresh with this.
Yeah.
Well, let's see.
Because Gal Gadot is like flawless. She's great. Aquaman, perfect. I like these two guys. We can do good writing with them. But it's and Flash, sure. I mean, we've yet to see what he can do. I mean, Justice League was not a good enough example. Yeah, and that's how they get it. Okay, give me your top 3 DC scenes.
Top 3 DC scenes. Okay. Number 1, I think.
Oh, we're going reverse order.
Oh, 3 to 1?
Yeah.
Okay. Number 3, I think the BVS rain fight is pretty solid. The do you bleed?
Yeah.
That part?
Yeah.
Great. I mean, there's no reason, there's no story context in which it really makes sense. But visually speaking, I think it's the one time Zack Snyder really nailed what he was going for, which is just like more than human, sort of like super stylized.
Very super stylized,
like all blues and greys kind of palette. Everything, he nails everything.
A scene from that film, which I like actually even more than that, is the Batman fight scene in the warehouse when he's trying to save Martha.
That was going to be my number 2.
That is that's
good.
one of the best Batman scenes I've seen ever. Like it was cool to see Batman kick some ass like a bloody ninja,
and
like
fight the way he should be fighting.
Like brutal as all hell.
Yeah, like when he picks up a dude and just like
slams him
into the ground. It's like
it was sick. It was great. That's like my one of my
as opposed to
favorite
Aquaman, where they're just like spear through chest, cool, spear through chest. Okay.
Yeah. Swords, not as cool as fists, dude. Fists.
At one point, Amber Heard just breaks a bunch of wine bottles and turns the wine into spears.
And she's so like Dark Phoenix like.
Yeah, she just like screams, turns like literal spears of wine go through the bodies of these.
Can I have a spear of wine? Oh god, she's cute though.
Yeah.
I'll give her that. She's cute. She's cute. And she's good. She's got very like on-off scenes. Like some scenes is really like convincing. Like there's one scene where she's just like, my responsibility to my nation, which is not followed up on, by the way, in the entire film. My responsibility to my nation is more than what happens to my love life, which I thought was like an interesting kind of thing to kind of explore. just
Nah,
put away.
a bunch of threads just left up in the air.
Yeah.
So
But
the
then she
warehouse
eats a
thing
rose.
was
Anyway.
the warehouse thing was going to be my number 2, but if it's not that, chalo, I'll try and give you a different one. What about the?
I got one also.
Okay, the World War II sequence in Wonder Woman.
Absolutely, yeah. That's
Yeah.
one definitely for me as well. I think just standout sequence for feels just so good. And something that feels right about that in the world. Like
Yeah,
just
it
Wonder
just-
Woman kicking ass.
Again,
and just
feels
being
fresh, right?
super fresh. And so and I love that it's a period film, man. Like it's like World War One. It's like unexplored territory in terms of cinema and superheroes, that's for sure. That's one. My other favorite sequence, I think, is definitely Kevin Costner in that sequence, in the tornado sequence when he tells Superman to not
That's
save
good.
him.
Yeah.
Stand out for me.
Yeah,
Like that one
solid. That's a good one.
makes me feel like weird and shitty and like wow. It's just like something I did not expect from that film, and he tells Superman not to save him. Brilliant.
Is so
Heartbreaking.
again, man. Maybe they
Heartbreaking
should have just.
sequence.
That was again such a different way to treat the
So
DCU,
good,
right?
so
Like
good.
it's a cynical Superman. It's a weary Batman.
Yeah.
And now they're trying to pivot into being more like the MCU, and it's falling flat.
But it's cool. I mean, like, that cynical thing could last until then. But then in BVS, he's still like, I don't know what I have to do with my life. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, like, dude, now Superman, please just be Captain America. As in, like, stand true throughout everything. That's what I love about Cap, is that Cap does not shake. Like that line, right? You have to plant yourself, like, in the river of truth like a tree,
Yeah.
and then, you say, you move. That is Captain America. Like, his character has not swayed in any of these films, and you think that that's a two-dimensional character, but that just makes it so, like, much larger
Yeah.
in context. That he has seen everything from his best friend kill his other best friend's parents. Like, he's gone through, like, everything, but he's still, like, stoic as
And-
like, it's awesome.
And it's not like he doesn't change, right? He changes. Like,
Yeah. Like,
he changes
he's become-
because of a core belief. So
Yeah.
he goes from like completely supporting everything America does.
Yeah.
Because he's fucking Captain America.
Correct,
To
yeah.
completely disagreeing with
Disagreeing
everything
with
America
everything,
does.
but because of the same values.
Yeah.
And then now he's just like a darker guy. Like, like we've come to the end. Really, we've come to the end of the arc where he's just
Yeah.
like, I don't know what I'm going to do if, we can't. Because everything that he believes in, if it doesn't pan out, then you're just like, what happens, then? So it's just, it was just, that's amazing. That
Cool.
Cap, man.
Let me give you my
So good.
number. So we gave.
You're trying to
we
talk
both
about the
did-
best DC moments, not talking about Cap.
We did 2 3s and 2 2s. Let me give you my number 1 moment from the DCEU.
Yeah.
It's when the Suicide Squad is in the plane.
And he's just this is Katana.
Yes.
She
Jack
traps
Courtney
the
just
souls
goes
of
like-
her enemies in her sword.
And she pulls out the sword like, then puts it back in like, and then she's gone for the rest of the movie.
Until she's crying to her husband inside the sword.
This is Katana. Her sword traps souls. Cool.
No,
See
sorry,
you around.
I have one better.
Yeah.
This is this guy. He can climb anything.
Suicide Squad is the best movie.
Just straight
Oscar-winning Suicide
up.
Squad.
Straight up.
Wow.
Well,
Yeah. So that.
but if James Gunn directs, it's definitely not going to be as good.
It might go
God.
in a different direction. Let James Gunn make the entire movie just about Katana.
Yeah.
Her sword traps souls.
Oh god. All right. Okay, enough. Aquaman, I don't think is as bad. It's absolutely average as hell. But in the context of the DC, that's not a bad thing. I mean, it's upwards.
Yeah. It's a shame that that's what we
Is this
are
the first
settling
movie
for.
coming out since Justice League?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely an improvement. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. That's our show. Let us know what you thought about Aquaman, any of the superhero films that came out this year.
Tell us how the DC universe should proceed, because usually we have a lot of ideas. I'm out, man. I'm like, I'm tapping
okay.
out. I'm like,
Yeah.
you guys figure it out.
You do.
Yeah, you do.
Jeff Johns is in control. I think he'll make it better. As I think they need directors with vision also. Anyway, yeah, let us know. Contact geekfood@gmail.com. That's our email address. You can even write to us on social media @geekfoodhq on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Cool. See you later, you nerds.
Family businesses get a bad rap, and one time they were looked down on for getting rich, for being too ambitious. Today they're still looked down on, but for not being ambitious enough. Not agile enough, not modern enough, too traditional in their mindset. The biggest brands and business houses in the country started out as humble family businesses. It's the way India has done business. Join Sonu Bhasin in conversation with stalwarts of Indian family businesses on the Inheritors podcast series by Bloomberg Quint. Discuss the highs and lows, the needs and pressure points of building a business legacy that spans generations.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are about to listen to attempt number 15 to record the promo for the podcast Vartalab.
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 All day, all night, Vartalab.
Oh yeah. It's a really nice podcast, guys. It's with me and Naveen, and it has really nice stories.
Yeah, people come tell their stories, ups and downs, fun times. We all cry at the end. It's like a Karan Johar movie, but in 1 hour or less.
Hey.
Yeah, every Monday. Yeah.
It's got humor.